often the biggest conundrum photographers face is literally taking a bunch of photos and then having to edit each and every one of those photos. And then you get caught up in the edit hamster wheel where you're literally just editing photos and not actually taking new photos. I found myself there. I'm sure some of you guys can relate with that. However, when I bought the Fuji X100VI, it completely changed my photography because I no longer have to worry as much about editing when I can just shoot it straight out of camera. Now, don't get me wrong, I definitely still shoot in RAW and like to edit my photos and have my presets and all that good stuff. However, with this little camera, I'm able to use what they call film recipes that are basically filters for your camera, for your picture straight out of camera, that completely change the look of your photos. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you guys the 4 film recipes that I have been using and that I have been having great success with. And I will be leaving all the settings to these recipes in the description, but basically what you can do on camera is tweak the settings of the camera. Basically all you have to do to replicate these settings is change your image quality settings in your Fuji camera to copy these exact ones, and you will have the recipe. So like I said, I will be leaving all those in the description, so just go in the description if you guys want these settings, as that is where they will live. So the first film recipe we're going to be talking about is classic Cuban. This is an absolutely amazing film recipe, and I do got to give a huge shout out to 2 people in particular. Ollie, I appreciate you, brother. If you didn't message me, I wouldn't know this film recipe existed. He does amazing work. Definitely go check out Ollie. So Ollie was the one that put me onto these film recipes because I was like, how is he getting these colors? And went down a rabbit hole and found the original creator to these recipes, who is Osana. Hopefully I'm saying your name right, brother. But definitely check out his work as well. I will leave both of their links in the description. But he is the original creator to this recipe, and these colors are absolutely gorgeous. Recently, I went out to the Smithsonian Museum, the Garden Museum in DC, and I pretty much shot the entire museum using just this recipe alone. And the results, as you guys can see, I really love the colors. It was an overcast day, really weren't any clouds. It really wasn't like harsh lighting, and I must admit, it looks phenomenal. I love these colors, love the brick. I love the reds and the greens. I think it came out really, really well. So this film recipe is based off the classic negative film simulation by Fujifilm. If you guys aren't aware, Fujifilm is in a very unique position. It's because they make camera bodies, they make camera lenses, and they also make film. So they have all this intellectual property that they transferred over to the digital space, and they basically emulated all that film that they had and turned it digital. So like I said, this film recipe is based off that classic negative one, and Fuji's description of this is enhanced color with hard tonality to increase image depth, which I think matches it perfectly. All right, so the second film recipe that I'm absolutely loving is Cubanace. This is another one of Osan's Fuji recipe. I love the colors on this one as well. I really love the warm feel to this recipe and also the shadow detail. I think it just really has that film look to me, and honestly that's why I'm really loving this freaking camera. Is like you can just play around with the colors so much and just achieve such different looks with just one little camera. Like this little camera right here. I know it's a hype camera, it's hard to get, but like, man, I see why this little camera's hype. But this film recipe is based off the Reala Ace film simulation. These little cameras have 20 built-in film simulations. And like I said, this one is based off the Reala Ace. And Fuji's description of Reala Ace is faithful color reproduction with hard tonality suitable for various scenes. Now, the third recipe we're gonna be talking about is a black and white recipe. And honestly, I didn't even realize how much I would like shooting in black and white until I started shooting with this recipe. This recipe is created by Reggie. I will leave his information in the description below as well. He's an actual fellow YouTuber. This recipe he created for this black and white one is amazing. It is absolutely amazing. I love the contrast it creates in your images. If you have like a very lit scene, let's say a source of harsh light, this recipe I find really shines. But recently I was out in Alexandria in DC, and I came across this like live street performance of this guy like that jumped over this group of people. I caught the moment right on camera and looked really sick. And I shot this all in black and white using this recipe, and I think it came out really well. I love just black and white. It just evokes, I feel, a lot of emotion. And then also another aspect that I didn't realize what it made me do and rethink a little bit of my photography is whenever you're shooting with the Fuji, you see the recipe on screen. So when you're checking your live view, it's actually showing you what it actually is going to look like, the final image. So if you're shooting in black and white, that's exactly what you see. And when you're composing your shots in black and white, it just changes the way you think about photography in the sense that you don't have to deal with colors. Colors is kind of out the window, so you can get more creative with your compositions. And really the composition has to speak a lot louder because there's no color in the photo. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm shooting in RAW plus JPEG. So if I ever do want to convert, let's say, any of my black and white photos to color, I do have that RAW as a backup, which I recommend doing just to future-proof it. You never know when you might actually want to convert that or re-edit it in color. So last but not least, this is probably one of my favorite recipes on the list. It's hard to pick. This is Kodak Ultramax 400. What I really love about this recipe is it's very of a cool recipe. It's not warm, it's complete opposite of warm. It's like very cool looking, very bluish, I would say, and looks very true to life, but still has that filmic look. That's what I love about these recipes, is they all just look very different and they all have a very filmy look to them that I love, I absolutely love. I actually recently shot an entire car event using just this recipe alone, and it was really fun. I think the photos came out really clean. I love how the blues look in the photos. I think they look very true to life is what I'd say. Skin tones look amazing. So how I found this recipe, if you guys are not familiar with Fuji X Weekly, this is a website / app that you can download on your phone or go online, Google it. But basically it is a repository of a bunch of different film recipes that the community creates, and it's pretty much being updated weekly. So you can go on there and just get lost in recipes and just try out a bunch of different ones. That's literally what I'm doing, what I have been doing that led me to these recipes, just pretty much going down the rabbit hole. And I'm actually working on my own recipes that I'm playing with, and I'll be shedding a little more information on those in the future. But for right now, these 4 recipes that I mentioned, these are great bases for just shooting in general. And what I really love is you don't have to spend much time editing, and 9 times out of 10 I'm just shooting straight out of camera. All these photos that I've been showing you guys have been pretty much straight out of camera. I'm not editing them, they are just straight from the camera with the film recipe applied, and that speeds up your workflow because you don't have to spend so many hours editing, you know, each individual photo. So really loving that. Now, wrapping things up, if you guys want to see more of my work, I'm posting way more on Instagram. I will leave that in the description. Definitely go check out my Instagram. I'm posting way more photos, and then I'm also playing with posting reels. I'm trying to create more of the behind the scenes look in terms of how these images are created. So definitely stay on the lookout for real shorts like that. They are definitely coming. And then if you guys want to see actually more of my client work, I will leave my portfolio in the description. It is SmugMug. I use SmugMug. But this is a lot of my client work, a lot of portraits, a lot of events I've done, cars, all that good stuff. That is what this portfolio houses. And then if you guys have made it this far, I just want to say I really appreciate you guys. Thank you. And with that in mind, I actually have something I'm working on, a little project that will be releasing later this year. Guys, I want to create a space, a community, all of us, this whole community we're building. So I went ahead and bought jordanmiller.com. This is going to be my new home on the internet. Obviously, I'm still going to be posting on all the social media platforms, but we're gonna have one central hub where we can post the blogs, comments will be enabled, all that good stuff. Just building a community. That's what I see, that's what I envision with this website. Also, it's going to have photos, more of my photography, and eventually a shop. Long-term looking out, I do want to build out a shop where I can house all the digital products and eventually start making books, all that good stuff. So it's coming, guys. Definitely be on the lookout. That's going to be launching later this year. We got a lot cooking, guys. I'm very excited for this next chapter and what is in store. It's going to be absolutely epic, traveling more and just documenting this life. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.